Hello, I'm Twee, and welcome to this edition of the podcast. This week I'm talking to costume designer Katina Danabassis, who's worked on films and shows including Lady Bird, Euphoria and Past Lives. Her latest work is for director Celine Song's second film, Materialists, and it stars Dakota Johnson, Chris Evans and the internet's boyfriend, Pedro Pascal. So let's get into it.
Hey, are you single? I'm a matchmaker. Give me a call if you want to meet somebody.
First thing that popped into my mind was putting Lucy in that skirt suit. I was like, I think it's a great time for a woman in a power suit because it feels like something of a bygone, or from a bygone era. And I was like, what a great opportunity for us to revisit that. And then it happened to be Dakota Johnson. And her mom's Melanie Griffith. So what a great nod to working girl. I feel like it's something that I don't see anymore, actually. So that's why I was like, what this is an interesting opportunity to do something that was classic, and powerful, and a symbolism of women's like strong working women wearing suits, but with a feminine touch. And I thought that was just like, because I see more women in pantsuits than I see women in like a skirt suit. I don't know about you, but that's just in my world.
Is that important for you when you're putting together looks for a movie? To get accuracy?
Yes, I love accuracy. Because I feel like people relate to it very quickly and easily, and they can, it's like being able to see yourself in it. And also sometimes it's like part of a joke or part of what makes the thing. Like, does the West Village feel like the West Village in New York right now, unless the girls are, dressed a certain way? And it adds to the storytelling and just grounds it in reality.
Was there anything you wanted to bring out in particular in dressing Lucy in terms of the themes of her story?
In the city, and when she's like dating Harry, she's really this, like, it feels very like corporate, a little bit like it's structured. It's very city working girl, and she's like moving through the world like a businesswoman, and she's doing business and talking business and navigating a relationship that's grounded in sort of like this transactional, like materialistic way. Not to be reductive, but that's kind of like the thing that ended up like steering us, is like, oh, the costumes like can stay in this like city mode, and then when it's with her true love, it's more grounded in an earthiness, and like the flowers come out and it's blooming, it's blossoming. And so her dress is not a floral dress at the wedding. It's kind of structured, strong, practical, chic, almost like origami back, kind of this city dress versus like a romantic dress.
How do you find the clothes? Do you go shopping yourself?
Yeah, on that one, I was definitely shopping myself. I pound the pavement. I scour online. I look on eBay a lot. I'm an eBay queen. And yeah, that's how I approach it. I like thrifting a lot too, because I find such unique pieces, and it's just like that. It's like you can find the most special thing, and it's you can't just be like, where did you get that? And you can't just go buy it. It's not for the masses necessarily. It's for this story.
And did the cast have thoughts on how their characters would dress?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like Dakota is just such a stylish person, and she wears clothes so well that, she was like, she's very involved, and I'm like super happy to, when we're in a fitting, like if the actor is gravitating towards something and like pulls on a certain garment, I'm like, please, like, unless I'm like, no, that's for this one moment, that's different. But like if they are like gravitating towards a certain item of clothing or piece of clothing in our racks, I'm happy to let them just be like, do what feels natural. Like it wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was right. So just go for it. Like use this as a closet. This is a collaboration. It's not, I don't know, it's not a dictatorship. You're the actor who has to embody a character and the clothing helps you get there. I'm not going to hold you away from that. You know what I mean? Whatever you need to get there is what I think you should find.
What kind of discussions did you have with Celine about the characters and the aesthetic overall?
Well, it was really easy for us to identify what John should look and feel like, because she was like, he should have holes in his underwear and he's been wearing the same underwear for so long and his clothes should be really worn in, and like he's so handsome that it's going to be hard to like make him not look so handsome, but like, and I was like, he's going to look great in his like rubby clothes, but he'll also like have that quality of like, once he's in the scene and the apartment's all messy and we see everything's just like lived in and water stained, it's all just going to be in the same conversation. And you can see the threadbareness of his shirts, and the little tiny paint splatter sometimes that isn't a mistake. It's just a used old shirt. So that is one of the characters that comes to mind specifically. And then, with Harry, it was just like luxury, luxury, luxury. Every fabric, every garment, every piece of jewelry, it was just about luxury.
Was there a piece on eBay that you found that surprised you, that you're really proud of?
In a thrift store, we found this T-shirt. I can't tell if it was like me or my assistant when we were shopping, but it says, "This is my story, this is my song." And we overdyed it like a gray black, because it was turquoise. And we put it on the roommate when he's blending his smoothie and he tosses the phone. But what was so funny is like, I maybe grabbed it, but then my assistant Celeste was like, "Oh my God, this is my story. This is my song, Celine Song, a story by Celine Song." And so we were just like, that's fantastic. So we were like, we have to get this in there. And so we found a way to get it in. And it's so quick. He turns around, he's like, "What the?" And you blink and you miss it. So
I have to watch it again.
now you have to watch it again.
So I guess in Australia, Gen Z and millennials make up half of cinema goers. And I guess, there have been surveys out that say, they want to see themselves represented and, have that authenticity. How do you make sure the looks are authentic? Because I know you've worked on like Lady Bird and a lot of like kind of young people movies, I would say. Yeah.
There's an interesting line you have to like cross and stay within, because they want to see themselves, but then they don't want to be bored. They want, you want to see yourself, but you want to be aspirational. You want to be inspired when you see stuff. So I think that it's about like, what is sort of inspiring, but also accessible. Like sometimes for me, like if something's too high fashion, it gets a little tough, but it's not about where can I get that. It's about how can I recreate that look or get that feeling that she got from pairing those two things together. And, with Lucy, there was a couple people where I saw pulling looks where it's like, oh, that's like a very casual, loose fitting suit. Like she wore it in this way, that this person I saw wore it in this way, where I was like, oh, you can just pull off a full-on suit and that's just great. So it looks super chic and that's inspiring to me. And so I think it'll be inspiring to other people.
Yeah, I was going to say, because they make a point of saying she has an $80,000 a year salary. Just wondering, how do you kind of balance that between like, high end, obviously, I don't know, I would splurge on that salary, do you know what I mean? But then also you can't splurge too much.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's funny because sometimes there's, a bit of flack that's coming across, like she could never afford it, and you read it in the comments, and you're just like, well, that dress was, on sale all over the place, the blue dress, and I think it was only like a $500 to $600 dress. It's not like a $4,000 dress or something, or even a $1,200 dress. I think it was like max $700, which is still a high price point. It's not a $120 dress, but we are doing something. We're making a movie, so it has to stand out. And then, you know, as it turns out, doing this job, I've become a very good shopper. So I know where to find really great stuff at a discount, and I'm scouring the real and I'm looking at eBay, and I'm finding Prada for $140. It's possible. It is possible. So if you don't know where to go, that's one thing, because you can just go to Bergdorf or whatever, Essence or whatever. But even Essence has great sales too. So you got to just be able to find the pieces at the right points and price points, and then pounce on them if it's something that you really feel like is going to work for your wardrobe. But yeah, it's possible to shop pretty cheap. And I'd like to say a lot of her jeans are Zara, and some of the shirts are like a $50 shirt from Nordstrom. That's not like a crazy reach. There are things like the jewelry is a bit of a high point in, I mean, just because jewelry is,
Yeah.
but Spinelli is a really lovely jewelry line, and I think I think jewelry is kind of worth the splurge simply just because of its retaining its value. That's for me, buy gold, buy silver, buy gold.
Yeah. I also wanted to ask, how did you get your start? And would you have any advice for young people who might want to pursue a career in costume design?
I got my start by telling a friend of mine who was designing a movie that I had a car and that I would love to work for her, and I can shop and I can do this. And she called me one day, and I was out there buying gray hoodies, and looking for weird sneakers. And so that was the very first like on the job working in a film as like a random shopper that I did. That was in Vancouver. And then, and then I started working in advertising and commercials with someone in LA. Her name's Camille Garmendia, and she showed me the ropes there. And really, for me, like my education, which is communications and anthropology, uh, isn't about, design. It's about the theory behind why you choose things that you do, and how to make meaning with like, storytelling. Because if you're interested in storytelling, then you might be interested in how to tell a story through clothing or makeup or props or set design. So, if you're a visual person and you have an interest in telling a story, you might be interested in looking at film or working in theater, and to keep at it, to work hard, and just sometimes you got to pay it forward. I worked for free a lot, a lot. When I was doing that thing in Vancouver, I was working as a server at the same time. Like it was like I just randomly was able to pull it off. So I worked for free a lot before I was doing anything close to this.
And is it true you're working on the drama with Zendaya and Robert Pattinson? And is there anything you can talk about in terms of how the aesthetic or clothes will look?
Yeah, we wrapped the drama. I think Chris wrapped his edit just like last week, so congrats to him. I would say the aesthetic is academic, because it's a bit of an academic world that we're going into there. And it's very practical as well. But obviously both of those people wear clothing so well that it was like, you're just like, oh, you just put like anything on them and you're like, oh, that looks great, you know? So it's a very like, it's a very Boston based academic world that we are entering into there.
That's really interesting. I really look forward to seeing it.
Yeah, thanks.
And I think I just wanted to come back to like, yeah, young people. Like, do you also talk to a lot of young people or like kind of, troll Instagram just to see how they dress as well?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I am endlessly fascinated with Gen Z. Um, I think for the same reason that a lot of like brands and companies and marketing firms are also curious about them because they are kind of like a weird litmus test of what does it mean to grow up with like the internet always being there? Because like it wasn't always there for me. So, their motivations and desires of like, how they purchase things and what they consume is it's uncharted territories. So yeah, I think I'm endlessly fascinated by what they watch and what they do and what they like and how they communicate and what they think of millennials. It's just it fascinates me endlessly. And I do when I meet a 20 something, I don't just want to be friends with them necessarily, but like they can be an endless well of information for me where I'm like, do you know who this person is? And then they like give me the like, short story and tell me like, yeah, like too long didn't read. He's this person, da 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 da. And I'm like, thank you.
Thanks for listening, and you can always say hi to me at Hey It's Twee. I'm on Instagram, Substack, the main social networks, and we'll see you next time.